Years ago, when I was first ordained, I was sent to be a chaplain to the Philadelphia prison system, and I had this wonderful little nun who came every week and helped with the singing at the prison for the Sunday Mass. And I used to visit her at her home, which is the mother house of her community, the Sisters of the Holy Trinity, they were called. And they had this wonderful chapel, but when you left the chapel and went into the convent proper, there was this full-size statue of Christ the King. He was seated on a big throne, a full-size statue with a great cloak and a crown on his head and a scepter in his hand and an orb in this hand. And he was looking right at you as you stood before the statue. It scared me to death when I first saw it. It was just so regal, so powerful. But as I read the Gospels and the rest of the Scriptures over the years, I came to realize that that's not what we're celebrating today, the kingship of Jesus as this conquering hero. The paradigm for a king in the Scriptures is David. And David was a shepherd. And he was invited by God and chosen by the people to lead them towards God. He was a shepherd king. He didn't have a sword or anything like that in his hand as a conquering king. He had a staff, as the psalm says, "The Lord is my shepherd, his rod and staff comfort me." The staff was the tool that a shepherd uses to guide the flock. And in those places where Jesus lived, the shepherd always went ahead of the flock. He didn't drive the flock ahead of him, he led the flock. And the rod was to beat off the wild animals that might be attacking. So that was the image that Christ the King has for us. Not a conquering hero. As a matter of fact, I tried to think of where there was any image in the New Testament of Jesus being enthroned, and I could only think of two. Mary enthroned him when he was born in a feed box in a stable. And as we heard in the gospel today, his last enthronement was on the wood of the cross. So he isn't the kind of leader who drives his people. He's the kind of people who leads his people. And that's the image that we are celebrating today. But we also have to remember that it's not just about Jesus. It's about us. Because when we came up from the waters of baptism, after they dried off our head, the first thing that was said to us is, "You are a king. Like Christ, you are a king." And we were anointed with holy oil like a king is anointed. Because the ministry of Jesus, of guiding people back to the Father, is being now shared with us, since his physical presence is no longer among us. And that's what we celebrate today. The leadership of Christ leading us all back to the Father, realizing that all of us are to assist the shepherd in that journey.